What is up, guys? Welcome back to another tier list video. Now, I know it's been forever since I did a Smite tier list, but hear me out. I'm just gonna let you guys know before we do get into this. I never told anybody about this, but ever since we started in quarantine, I've been actually diving into Conquest. Now, if you guys do know, I've said it plenty of times. Like, I have legit 900 hours into Smite, just all mainly arena games. No, I'm around about like almost 1,200 hours now, so I've got about 300 hours in Conquest, and that's mainly ranked Conquest. So these last three and a half months, I've been playing mainly Conquest, if not all Conquest ranked games. I've stepped away from Arena, and I want to really dive into Conquest ranked and give it a legit shot and a legit chance. Mainly just because now I have the time to. Um, for various reasons. I'm not going to go into detail why that is, but mainly the quarantine and stuff like that currently. But there's going to be a season. I'm pretty sure it's not. Well, it's a season. I forgot what season it is. I think it's season 3 now or whatever. But I'm pretty sure this is going to be. I think it's 7.4, the current patch we're on. This is not going to be for 7.5. I know there's going to be an update show on Wednesday. I'm recording this on Monday. You guys probably won't see this till like sometime next week. But any of those balance changes that they're going to be revealing on the update show and will be going live next patch, those ain't included. I'm pretty sure it's 7.4 currently is what update we're on. So I'm gonna hop right into this. Now there's going to be a console tier list for low tier ranked. When I'm saying low tier, I'm saying bronze 3 all the way up to around about gold. I'm saying maybe like gold 1, maybe like gold 3, something around there. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I've been playing for 3.5 months, competitive ranked in Smite. Um, Beyond the reason of it being probably one of the worst ranked experiences and probably one of the worst ranked formats out of any game I've ever played. That I'm going to put that beside the point because that's an entirely different video by itself. But the highest I've reached was Silver 5 currently, and that's solo queuing. I've solo queued the entire time. I can probably make like an entire video on why Smite ranked is probably one of the worst ranked experiences I've ever had out of like any games. And I've had almost 4,000 hours into Paladins, and that's even considered some of the worst ranked experiences and the worst ranked format in like all of games. And I'd say Smite's even worse, but that's an entirely different video. If you guys want me to make a video on why Smite ranked is garbage, let me know in the comments. And if you guys are new and you guys want me to continue making these Smite videos, doing the update videos, going over the updates, stuff like that, let me know by leaving a like and subscribing. I'm going to get right into this because I don't want to rant anymore. We have a lot of stuff to go through. Achilles, actually, before I get into this, SS is going to be your absolute broken stuff that needs to be nerfed. S plus is going to be your stuff that's like almost top tier. You're going to be picking or banning in most games. SS is going to be your top tier picks. A plus is going to be stuff that works almost like all your teams, no matter what comp you have. A is going to be your more situational stuff, but not bad by any means. B plus more situational, and below that it just goes on and on. So, and D is your garbage. C is your garbage. B is your like almost like super niche picks. I'm put Achilles at a. I actually think he's an S. Even at like a low tier ranked. Like I said, this tier list is going to be for strictly low tier / newer players, just because I haven't been above Silver 5 myself. I'm first getting into it myself, so I kind of want to make a tier list based around that and what I've been experiencing over the last 3.5 months playing the ranked, in depth, playing it by myself. Achilles, I'm going to say he's a solid S. I think he's a really good solo laner. Great ult, decent mobility. Just overall, probably one of the better picks, if I'm being completely honest. He has really good lane pressure. I think the only thing that he kind of struggled with is his early game. Apart from that, once you get past like level 5, you're well off. Great bully potential. He's really solid. If you want a really solid solo laner, you can even use him in jungle. He's a variety of roles. He's great as support. He's a really good jungler if you want to run him as a jungle. Overall, really solid, really diverse. Agni, I'm gonna put him at B plus, just because the main reason that like lower tier ranked, people just they don't know how to position with him properly. They don't know how to land his land most of his abilities. The only thing that he really does at lower tier rank is people to spam his ult. That's like the only thing people really do. He has no pressure. He just gets dove very easily. People that do play him at lower tiers just constantly out of position. Um, that's like all he really is at lower tiers. He's an ult bot. That's all you really do. Is spam ult and hope to get kills. He doesn't really do anything apart from like a lot of the other mages. AMC, I'm gonna put it at an A. I think he's average. Um, Probably one of your more typical average ADCs. There's nothing really that makes him very special. He works on most teams. That's pretty much what A is. You can put it on most teams and get away with it, no matter what you're really running. Alpok, put him at an A. I think the one thing that really holds him back at a lower tier ranked as well is the lack of mobility and lack of positioning. If you can't position, if you're constantly out of position with Alpok, and you just constantly get dove. That's kind of what is really bad about him. That he really doesn't have too much lane pressure until like around like after level 5, level 6. Otherwise, he just gets kind of shit on by more of the like the higher tier mid laners currently. And that's probably the only lane I would play him in. He's only good as like a mid lane. You can play him as support. Um, I had somebody in my game like a couple times in my games trying playing him as a solo laner. Needless to say, we lost those games. So that was a huge part of it. That was why we lost those games. But still, Honor, very safe ADC. In your carry or your dual lane, he's has a really good escape. Pretty spammable ult. If you're like a beginning player and you just want a really solid auto attack god, I think Honor's a really good pick. He's just really simple. His kit is very basic, really easy to understand. You can do very good with him. I think he's an A plus. Amaterasu. I want to put her at an A plus. If this was like extremely high tier ranked, I'd probably put her like an S. But being that is more low tier ranked, people really don't do much with her apart from like spam ult. That's really what people do with her. Otherwise, she doesn't really do much. Her pressure is a little bit low. They really don't know how to position with her properly. Her clear is okay. I don't know. I'm gonna put her at an actually. I might even put her down to an A. I don't think she's A plus worthy. I'm gonna put her at an A just because low tier really doesn't know how to fucking use her apart from her spamming her ult. Anubis. Oh shit. I think I'm gonna put Anubis at an S plus. I think he's your top pick god. If you want a mid laner and you're at lower tier ranks and you want to carry games, you pick Anubis. Now I know everybody's gonna be picking saying, oh, well it's an anti-heal meta. Everybody's gonna be picking anti-heal. People at lower ranks, guys, I'm speaking from experience. People are too stupid to pick up anti-heal most of your games in lower ranks. I'm telling you guys right now, Anubis is a carry mid. If you want to pick something that's in a carry, you can carry games with Anubis. He has extremely good lane pressure once you get to level 3. Once you get to level 3, you pretty much click your bandage, you wrap somebody up, and you spam your other two abilities. If they don't die from that, then you just auto attack and you pretty much get a kill on like anything that doesn't have any decent mobility or any pressure against you in mid lane. That's how good he is at lower tiers. Um, Great self-sustain with lifesteal. Like I said, at lower tiers, people really don't bother even picking up anti-heal because either they don't know how or they don't even know it exists, or they just refuse to, or they don't know how to play. So mainly those reasons. Being in lower tiers, you get away with a lot more stuff. So that makes Anubis way higher in value. Especially once you get to level 5, you pretty much if your mid laner has that you're going against has like no mobility or no pressure to pressure you out, and they don't have anti-heal, you pretty much just you wrap them up and you ult and you get a kill like every time. Like I'm saying, he legit 1v1s and wins like almost every 1v1 in the mid lane. If you don't buy anti-heal, and if the other mid laner doesn't have any type of decent mobility or like or some type of CC or stuff like that. So uh Ao Klong, I would put Alquang at a B. Very extremely situational. The problem with Alquang at lower tiers is nobody knows how to fucking use him properly. People build him as an auto attack god when he's not. I think the best build currently is to build him as a more of a ability based God, I think the only way you can really play Alclong currently as well, you can't play him as a mid laner. You'll get absolutely shit on by most things currently. On at least if you play lower tiers. I think the only way you can really play him is as a jungle, and even then, there's so many better picks to play him as a jungle. Like he has no really value in lower tier rank. If I'm being completely honest. Now, if you're an Alquan God and you're trying to rank up, then and you know how to position properly, you know how to build them, you know how to gank properly, you know when to ult, you know when to dive into team fights, you know when to leave team fights. Um, I think one of the other things that makes Alquan absolute garbage at lower tiers is he has no mobility. He has a stealth ability that you pretty much use to go into team fights and try to dive somebody. If you can't dive him, if you don't kill him, or if you get spotted and you get CC'd out, you're pretty much dead meat. And then that's what he really suffers from in lower tier ranks. People just don't know how to use him properly or know how to use and know when to go in properly and get kills with him properly or build him properly. He's just one of those gods that just lower on the totem pole, if I'm being completely honest. Afro A plus. You have to have half a brain to not play a good Afro. Like the only thing you really need to worry about is landing her stun, which is a 1 second stun. It has a huge hitbox. I mean, I'm come on, Afro's really good. Now the reason I'm not going to put her higher is just because she gets dove super easily, and people at lower tier rank don't know how to position properly. That's the reason why I'm going to put her at an A plus. But I think even with half a brain, you can still pick up Afro and still do really well. She's that good currently. And then people don't know how to build anti-heal, so I think that puts her at a solid A plus in my honest opinion. I'm gonna put Apollo at an A plus. At lower tiers, I think what makes him good is he has the pretty much the ult to pretty much go wherever you want. The great mobility with his ult. I think he has a stun in his kit as well. Just overall really solid, at least for lower tiers, or if you're getting into the game. Arachne S plus. Uh, Arachne's one of those junglers to where if you just let her steamroll and she gets like 1 or 2 levels up on like the entire team, she just straight steamrolls games. Like if you just let her farm for like the first 5 to 8 minutes of the game, and she's able to get like 1 or 2 items and get like a couple kills, then she out levels your entire team, and then she just steamrolls from there. Like she's extremely annoying to go against at lower tiers, and I've had it personally where I go against a team that has Arachne. Nobody can lock her down, um, especially since people don't know how to draft properly. You can pick her into teams that have very little CC or crowd control, or teams that have no way of mobility, being like leaps, runs, stuff like that can escape her, and she can just dive stuff really. That's just because I think that's absolute broken like stuff that needs to be nerfed. But S plus, she's gonna be your top jungler. If she's not banned, you pick up Arachne and you can carry games. Like pretty much no matter what the team. Even if they do have CC, then you can just pick and choose who you want to go after all game. Ares, A, just your typical. You can run him in solo lane and support. I've seen him work both. I think the only thing that really makes him decent is his ult. Apart from that, he really doesn't offer too much. And if you're a newer player as well, you're going to be missing a lot of your chains, which is a huge part of his kit. If you're not landing his chains and getting the cripple off on people and preventing them from using their mobility, then you really ain't doing anything for the team. I'm gonna put on an A. Artemis, B plus. Artemis is fucking garbage. She gets dove too easy. The only thing good about her is her ult. Her damage is kind of garbage until like late game. I don't know. She's just super easy to kill. Like she has very little survivability. Like compared to like a lot of the other ACs and hunters in the game. RDO, I'm gonna put her at an A, but I think the reason why I'm not gonna put her higher is just because people don't know how to really use her abilities to like max effectiveness. Just because she has, I think, 6 abilities, and you can swap between them all. People don't know how to combo them well. People don't know how to position well and use them at the proper time. I'm just gonna put her at an A. Athena, B plus. People just don't know how to play her at lower tiers. That's the main problem. Either that or people waste their ult. I don't know. I had Athena in my game actually today that legit just stood in solo lane the entire time. It was like 20 minutes in the game and she had never rotated once. And then the jungler would just go over there and somehow farm her when she had almost full build. The jungle was like 2 levels below her. I don't know. People just don't know how to play her properly. Like, granted, she's good by herself, but if people actually knew how to play her and utilize her kit to the max potential, then I think she'd be higher. But I'm gonna put her at a B plus. Wheelix, I'm gonna put her at an A. I think even without like the proper team, she requires like she's like a lot better if you're going against like if you have a team that can utilize like knockups and stuff like that. So she's able to capitalize on stuff like that a lot more. Even then, I think she's still a solid A for at least a jungler. Or you're just typical, it's mainly your typical run of the mill jungler. Baba Yaga. I kind of want to put her even below Ao Kuang just because even at a lower tier ranked, she does nothing. Like she gets dove very easily. Her pressure is fucking garbage. Even after like level 5, she doesn't get her pressure and she does like absolutely nothing until like almost level 10. By that time, like the other mid laner already has like a couple kills, able to really pressure you out. She's like, what does Baba Yaga do that like any of the other mages in the game do better? Like nothing. She offers nothing. Half of her kit is RNG. I mean, yeah, she has decent area of effect damage for team fights, but that's like the only thing she really has. She has okay mobility, but even after that, people don't know how to when and to use it at a certain time. I don't know. She's super easy to like dive. She gets farmed by a majority of the junglers. I don't know. Just absolute garbage. I don't think there's even a reason to pick her like over anything. I'd say even low key at a lower tier range is better than her. Bacchus. Actually, put Bacchus at A plus. I think he's really solid. He does a shitload of damage. You can build him in a variety of ways. Good in solo and support lane. Support roles. Just very solid. A plus. Bakasura. I'm gonna put Bakasura at an S. Now, if this was like high tier ranked, I know there's gonna be people. Oh, why is Bakasura S? Bakasura, I think at a lower tier has a lot more viability just because he's an auto attack jungler. Um, you pretty much just farm. Mainly, what you just do is you get to level 5. By that time, you've got like enough. You've consumed enough jungle minions to probably have almost 5 or 6 at point. You alt dual lane or solo lane, help your teammates out, and you just do that pretty much for the rest of the game. You build haste and katana. You build blink. You dive people that are out of position all game. He does a fuck ton of damage. He has pretty good self sustain, being able to eat minions pretty much wherever. Being able to hop out of the team fight whenever you really need and go consume a minion, stuff like that. Get some health back and then hop right back in to finish up on a kill. He has decent mobility. He's relatively safe with a really good leap. I think that's the reason why he's really solid at lower tiers. And I'm speaking from experience. I've actually carried games with Baka. I think he's a lot more solid at lower tiers than higher tiers. People that are playing like higher tiers or on like most PC players or stuff like that, I've heard say he's garbage, but I think he's really good at lower tiers. Baron. I'm not gonna say Baron's completely useless, but he's probably one of the worst mids and one of the worst solos you can pick, at least like right now at lower tiers. Like he does nothing. He gets dove super easily. People don't know how to land his winding stun. People don't know when to ult properly. People waste their ults when people are like already like way across the map, and you have a Baron that ults and doesn't pull anything in and just wastes his ult. And then like 2 minutes later, he gets dove by the jungler. I don't know. People don't know how to position with him properly. People don't know how to stay into team fights properly with him and utilize his abilities. Don't know how to properly utilize abilities and combo to get kills. B plus. Bastet, she's just your average jungler. She's relatively safe. She has mobility for a leap. Um, Decent damage. I think she's average for lower tier ranked or lower tiers on Conquest. Bellona, I'm gonna put up Bellona at an A plus. I think at lower tier she has a lot more viability. Just for the main reason, she does decent damage. She's relatively safe. Um, a lot of people know how to play her a lot more just because she's one of your starter, I think, warriors. So Bracken, I'm gonna put him at an A plus as well. Very easy to use. Um, there's not really too much drawback to him as well. He has decent movement speed. He's able to get around the map pretty well. I think the only thing that you really need to worry about with Kraken is your positioning. If you constantly get caught out and you're trying to like win like 2v1s and 3v1s, then you're going to be having problems. But he can easily 1v1 most things, and I think that's where he really shines at lower tiers. Camazot's A plus, great solo laner. You can even play him in jungle, and I've seen even support. You can play him in support, and he even works. Um, he just has undeniable amounts of self sustain. The only reason I'm not going to put him higher is just because people don't know how to position properly with him and don't know how to really properly utilize his entire kit. Um, I mean, he has a decent leap. His ult is pretty much kind of like a save button. You just use it when you're about to die most of the times. Um, incredible self sustain, like I said. I don't know. I think he's a solid A plus. CERN, just a run of the mill hunter, very good. I'm not really gonna talk about him very much. I think he's just a solid A plus. Decent survivability, has a decent escape if you get dove. Um, then if you do get dove, you even have your ult, you can just throw your ult up and then you get out of pretty much all situations. Usually after you use your ult on somebody, they'll just run away. So I think he's really safe, really good at lower tiers. Cerberus, I'm putting it at an A. He's decent in solo lane. I think the only really role you're going to be picking him though is probably support. Even then, he really doesn't do anything. He's kind of an ult bot. Like really, he doesn't do much after that. Like what does Cerberus really offer to the most other Guardians slash Warriors that you can use in support or solo lane? Not really much. He has a decent stun that if you can land it, okay damage and mainly just an ult. That's all he really provides at lower tiers. Chalk, I'm gonna put Chalk at an S. I think he's just overall really safe, really good self sustain. People pick him really a lot. He's a really good pick over in solo lane. His ult is really good for team fights at lower tiers. And he's just overall really easy to play as well. I think that's what makes him really good at lower tier ranked. Chang'e S. People don't know how to buy anti-heal. If you can steamroll with Chang'e, she pressures out a lot of the mid laners currently. You can even play her in support if you really want to. She does decent in support. Mainly good player mid lane though. Just overall really solid. If she pressures out a lot of the mid laners, she does a shitload of damage. You're pretty much like 3 KOing most mid laners if you have like I'd say like two, maybe 2.5 items online, and if you're able to get a lot of chip, she just does a shitload of damage. And she's able to get out of a lot of crowd control stuff as well, just because she can negate damage with a 3. So overall, really easy to play as well. I think that's what makes her really good at lower tiers. Arguably, sometimes I even ban her just because she's really annoying to go against. And you counter in the fact that people really don't buy anti-heal that often in lower tiers either. Chernobog, the global ult, I think is what I'm going to put him at A plus for. It's really easy to play. I think the only thing difficult about him is his stun. I think he has a little bit of a stun in his kit. Don't mistake me, but team fight ult, great team fight ult. You can go from spawn anywhere on the map. Really easy to play. Really good results. Chiron, I'm going to put him at A. There's really nothing special about Chiron, but like over the other ADCs, I'd say just extremely average. Solid A. Chronos. I would put Chronos at an S. I think Chronos, into most things, actually can carry games. I think the only thing that Chronos really struggles with is his early game. His early game is really fucking garbage. But if you can get past like around about like level 7, level 8, and that's when he starts to really pick up and you can actually really start carrying games. I actually had a game yesterday that I went 26-4 with Chronos, and I actually carried a game. I had another game, I think, the day before where I went like think 23-6 with Kronos. Granted, the other team was really bad, and they had like little to no CC and like no leaps or runs or anything, like very few escape abilities. But in this certain, like, if you can pick them like against certain teams where they don't have much CC, they don't have a jungler that can constantly dive you. Even if you do get dove and you have your ult up, you pretty much just wait to get around about half health. You pop your ult. By that time, the jungler has all of its cooldowns. He popped all his cooldowns. He has nothing to go after you with, and then you pretty much just revenge kill most of the junglers. Um, I guess the only exception to that are things like Arachne, maybe Baka, um, a few other junglers, but apart from that, most of the junglers you're going to be seeing in lower tiers, Kronos does really well against. I think the only thing with Kronos that's going to be a little bit hard for lower tier players to use is when to use your ult, when to rewind to get your health back to full and all your cooldowns reset, and to land your 1. I think his 3 is easy enough to land. It moves pretty slow, but it's really easy to land. Huge hitbox. Even if you don't even land your 1, you can still use him effectively. He does shitload of damage. You just build auto attack, you build attack speed, you just run all the rings, and you just run like 2 other things at the end, kind of filler items. I don't know, I run Rod of Tuati as my last item, then I just run all rings, and then other shit like that. That's the way I've usually played him. Really solid. I think he's really solid ADC. You can over in duo. Kukulin, I'm putting an S. I think he's really solid as well. Very easy to play. A little drawback. I think that's what makes him so good at lower tiers. He has a little drawback for the amount of reward you get from him just by playing him. Cupid, I'm gonna put it in A+. I think that what makes him really good at lower tiers in ranked is his ult. Being able to stun somebody out and pretty much guarantee kill them most times, depending on when you use your ult. Now I've seen Cupids that don't know when to use their ult and they'll completely waste it. But if you can use your ult properly and you know when to use it, then you're going to be making full use of them. I think that's what's going to make them good. Dodgy at lower tiers, shreds. If you can play a decent shot, Dodgy. She doesn't even take really that much skill to play. The hardest thing about her to really even use is her ult. And even if you only land one of your chains from your ult, you're getting value. So I wouldn't really say that's even a drawback. I think she's a really solid jungler. Really, really good at lower tiers, especially if you can land more than like one of your chains from your ult. If you can consistently like even get like 2 or 3 people, and even burn beads. She's great at burning beads. I think she's really solid, really, really good. Discordia, I'm gonna put it in A+. She's kind of one of those things where you kind of just hide under your tower until you hit level 5, then you land, you pretty much just throw out all your abilities, then you throw out your ult and try getting kills. I think her early games where she kind of suffers the most. And once you get past like level 7, level 8, she kind of starts picking up. But really, really solid. I'm gonna put her at an A+. Erlang Shen, B. People just don't know how to use him. People play him way too overly risky. People dive like 1v3s thinking somehow they can win a 1v3. I don't know. People just don't know how to build him properly. People don't know how to use its abilities properly. They don't know how to play him properly at these lower tiers. I think the only reason you can really play him now is even in the jungle. He's garbage as a solo lane. You can play him as support. He gets destroyed as a support. I think even in jungle, he doesn't even pay right now as a jungle. He has like no role currently. They nerfed him way too much. Fafnir, I'm gonna put him in a B, not just because he's bad, but just because like the same boat as Erlang Shen. You can play him in support lane, mainly, even sometimes solo. I think the only drawback with him in solo is he kind of gets pressured out by things like King Arthur, um, Achilles, stuff like that that are able to have like a lot of lane pressure. He just doesn't offer very much lane pressure until like you get his ult to level 5. Apart from that, he's a really shitty early game. Like he really can't do much until like level 10, and by that time you're gonna your team's either losing or getting pretty much destroyed, just because you're not really able to do much. Fenrir, I'll put Fenrir at a solid S. I think Fenrir at lower tiers is really, 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 really good. Um, pretty much it's just pretty much auto aim abilities. You click it, you land, it's locked onto your target, especially with the brutalize. He has a stun with his leap, really good. Um, Even if you do build him like improperly, I wouldn't I've seen people build them when you're supposed to build them as like an ability based assassin. I've seen people even build like auto attack and still do really well. So I think he's one of those junglers to where you can build him a variety of different ways and still succeed with them. I think that's what makes him really solid at lower tiers. He also has a really good ult. Being able to just scoop somebody up and dump them under a tower and get a huge amount of damage and get a kill on them in the early game after like level 5, level 6, and automatically get a pick. I think that makes him really good as well. Really, really solid in lower tiers. Freya. I'm gonna put Freya at an A, not just because I wouldn't say she's bad, but just because people don't know how to land her 3, which is her mid-air hold. She just gets dove way too easy. Granted, if you pick her versus like a team that really doesn't have too much stuff that can dive you, she's insanely good. She does a fuck ton of damage. But if you can't land her hold in midair to get rid of stuff that can dive you, and she just gets dove the entire game, I would not pick her. I think she's a little bit lower value and lower tier ranked. Ganesh, I'm gonna put Ganesh the same. He doesn't really do anything like at lower tier rank. People don't know when to use his ult properly. Um, People don't know when to go in for the dash. Um, I'm putting on an A just because I don't think he's absolutely worthless, but I think he's more of team dependent if you really do want to play him. Jeb, I'll put Jeb at a B. Jeb just doesn't do anything. Like people don't know when to use his shield. If you're gonna be picking Jeb, you're gonna be mainly picking him for his shield and pocketing your carry most of the game. Jeb is garbage as a solo laner. He gets pressured out by pretty much anything, and then he just falls behind at levels. The only place you can even play him is in support, and even then, if you don't know when to use your shield on your and pocket your carry or even do anything, he just doesn't do anything. That's the problem in lower tiers. People don't know how to use him. People don't know how to use him effectively. He just is pretty much just like he's just pretty much like a walking kill that just throws up a little bit of damage, a tiny bit of CC, and just walks around the entire time. That's like all he does. And maybe once in a while you'll get a shield from him. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I actually want to support that. It helps a carry out because I put one of my main roles as carry. Guan Yu, I'm gonna put Guan Yu at a solid A plus. I think he's really solid. You can play him in support and solo lane. Just really easy to play. Really good team fight ult. Decent self sustain. Overall, really solid. Hachiman, A. I'm not really gonna talk about him very much because I think he's just a solid A. Hades, S plus, definitely. You can play Hades in support, get away with it really easily. You can play Hades as jungle like me. People shit on Hades for jungle. I don't know. I think once you can play jungle with Hades and get away with it scot free. The only problem with Hades is his clear is absolute garbage until you get hit level 4. So until then, you really can't clear jungle camps very quick. But once you hit level 4, then you get your ult online. You just pretty much phase into lanes. You hit both of your abilities. You go for an ult. And you try getting kills. I think Hades is probably one of the best mages at like lower tier. You can play him even in he's great mid. He has a ton of lane pressure in mid, even at lower levels, even at like level 2. You're able to get a decent amount of damage. He has really good lane pressure. Um, his early game is a little bit lacking, like I said, until level 5. But once you get around about level 6, level 7, and he just pretty much steamrolls from there. I've carried like tons of games with Hades, even playing Hades as support, jungle, mid. Um, he's just really solid. He's really easy to play. His ult has pretty much no drawbacks. You phase into a team fight, you ult, catch like 2 or 3 people. Your team kills them. If not, you just finish them off. You get free kills. He's just really, really solid. And you can build him like most ways. You just pretty much run whatever you want on him. You can do well. He's one of those mages where you can just build him however you want to build him, and he'll provide results. As long as you know when to position, you know when to get in and get out, and you have basic game awareness. I think Hades is top tier pick in lower tiers, even arguably a ban sometimes. Abel A plus, just gonna put him A plus just because of the amount of sheer damage he does. He does an insane amount of damage. Heimdall, I know people are gonna say Heimdall is fucking broken, but at lower tiers he's garbage. He gets dove too easy. People don't know how to put down his teleport runes. Um, People don't know when to use his ult. People waste his ult. They'll go in for an ult thinking they can land it, and then they'll completely overshoot it, or they'll completely miss, and then they just get dove and killed. I don't know. If anything, you get a Heimdall on your team, they end up feeding more than doing good on most of your games. Hell, I'm gonna put L on an S. She's very easy to use. People, like I said, really don't buy anti-heal as often in lower tiers. Um, if you can play at least like a relatively decent Hell currently, I think you can do really good. I think her only problem is lack of mobility, and even that you can build. I think there's an item in item shot to where you every time you heal you get 40% movement speed. So even then, if you don't have that, you don't have like mobility, you just get it from movement speed anyways. I think she's really solid. She does shitloads of damage, even if you build her like a full healer build and other stuff like that. Really solid. Hera, put Hera at an S. Really good lane pressure. Um, Able to solo towers with her ult. Um, really good late game. I think the only thing problem with her is her early game. Her early game is absolute fucking garbage. But once you can get past like level 5, I think she's really good. Hercules, I'm putting an A. The problem with Hercules is most people don't know how to land his abilities. If you can't land abilities with Hercules, you're pretty much doing nothing. You have to land at least both of your abilities um, to at least do something. Horus, B. Not really because Horus is bad, just because he doesn't do anything. He has a stun, and that's pretty much it. If your team doesn't capitalize on your stun, he has no mobility. His ult is pretty much useless if you're just playing casual solo ranked without any comms. People don't know even how to use his ult. I don't know. I think he's one of those gods that's way better at higher tiers. He just doesn't do anything at lower tiers. People don't know how to use him. His lane clear is absolute garbage until you get to like level 7, level 8. Probably one of the worst early games slash middle games in the game, at least for lane clear. I don't know. He's kind of just garbage at lower tiers. Hoi is very solid ADC. I think one of the most solid picks currently. Hun Bats, I'm gonna put it in an S just for the sheer reason to where you can just get kills off your ult alone. Even if you play like a shitty Hun Bats and you're able to set up perfect ults and get like 2 or 3 kills off your ult every time, then you're getting huge value for your team, and that's what you really need out of a jungler. I think that's the solid reason why I'm gonna put him in S, just mainly because of his ult alone. And he's relatively safe. He has a really good leap, really good minion clear, really good jungle clear, decent early game, really solid. Isis, I'm gonna put it to B, mainly for the sheer fact of thing like Horus. She doesn't do anything at lower tiers. People don't know how to use her. People don't know how to use her ult effectively. People don't know how to land her abilities. People don't know when to use her silence. Like I said, not necessarily because she's bad, just because people don't know how to play her properly. Izamani, I'm gonna put it in an S. I think Izamani is one of your go-to ADCs for at least carries. Really easy to play. You get really good at results. Um, she can be built a variety of ways. If you want to run more of like penetration, you can build it both ways. Really good, solid, just overall easy to play. Really good results. ADC. Janice, B plus. Problem with Janice, and people don't know how to like land his abilities. People just waste his ult. People don't know how to land his portal. Um, he just gets dove super easy as well. People are constantly out of position. You can't be out of position with Janice. You can't. Otherwise, you're just constantly getting dove. Like, if anything, if you have Janice in your game at lower tiers, they're going to be either doing really well or they're just going to be feeding the entire game. Usually, most of the time, they're going to be feeding. Just because people don't know how to properly position and properly land his abilities. Jingwei, I would put it Jingwei at an S plus. Probably the most safe, most reliable carry in the game for lower tiers. She has no drawback. She's able to get back to lane really easy, especially for the newer players slash lower tiers that need to go back to spawn more than the average player. She's able to do that really easily. Very safe. Um, you can get dove, and if you do get dove, you have loads of mobility. You can use your ult to get out of dodge. You can use You're fluttered to get out of dodge. I think the only thing about Jingwei that makes her kind of bad is her early game. It's kind of really is absolute garbage. You have to get like around about 2 items, like 3 items online to where she even starts doing anything. Her late game though, she absolute shreds. She fucking threw shreds. I don't know, I had a game today where I was actually hitting for like 850 per auto. And that was like a 30 minutes in. So late game is absolute fucking great. Once you can get past like level 8 or like 3 items online, she starts actually doing stuff and starts actually picking up. Really solid, extremely safe. Probably one of the best hunters. If you can pick Jingwei, you're bound to do good. There's no way you can possibly fuck her up, even if you're a garbage player. Jorm. I'm gonna put Jorm at an S. He's really easy to play. I think the only thing that maybe you can screw up on Jorm is your positioning, but even then, he just does so much. He has CC. He has a really good ult. He's off. He has more reward than he does drawbacks, even for like newer players that don't even know how to do anything. Callie, I'm gonna put an S. I think she's really solid. Being able to go after people and get your health back. To fool if you get that kill. Really solid. She has an ult where you can't be killed as well, which automatically at lower tiers raises her value. Carefree A. I think most of the times you do get a carefree, it's going to be in support, and he just doesn't do anything. Like he doesn't do anything until you get like lower, like higher into the game, like longer in the game. Like at the beginning of the game, he just doesn't check shit. He's just there. Like he has no pressure. He just doesn't do anything. If anything, the only thing he really does is save you for a couple times with his ult. I mean, whatever. King Arthur. I'm gonna put King Arthur at an S plus. Pretty much what you do with King Arthur, you rush Glad Shield and you just spam away and you spam pressure. You build up your ult, and you just can constantly pressure out and ult the solo laner. That's pretty much what you do with King Arthur at lower tiers. That's like all you do. Really, really good. Really simple to use. Really spammy. He does decent damage. You can build him a decent number of ways if you want to run him more bulky, more health oriented. If you want to run him more of an offensive. I don't know. I've carried games with King Arthur as well currently. I think last week I had a game where I went like 20, 24, and like 3 with King Arthur. I was just solo ult. They had somebody that was just, granted, they had somebody that was constantly feeding and constantly out of position, but I took advantage of that and I just constantly solo ult them and get free kills. Kukulkan, I'm gonna put at an S plus. Probably one of the most safe mid lanes. I think the only thing around him is his early game is garbage. Until you get to like level 5, level 6, um, his pressure in mid lane is garbage. Apart from that, once you get past like level 5, he starts putting in work. He starts putting in a lot of ship damage. Even if you don't even land you like your 1, just throwing down your 2 into like a team fight, which has a huge AoE, and getting that ship damage off on your team on the other team is a lot of value. Pumbaa, put an S. Probably one of the best supports in the game at lower tiers. Even if you don't land like all your abilities, if you can land like 1 or 2 of them, you're getting huge amounts of value with the amount of CC he has. Kuzumbo, I don't know. He just doesn't do really like anything. Like if you're gonna be using him, he just tries pushing people under towers mainly. That's like the only thing you're gonna be picking him for. He doesn't really do like very much in support. And if you play him in solo, he gets pressured out by pretty much almost a lot of the other things. Low key, we'll put Loki at an A plus. I think he at lower tiers, Loki can actually do shit at lower tiers. Now, if this was like platinum or above, I'd put him at like an F or like a D. But I do think he has value if you know how to position, if you know how to properly pick people off and properly use ganks and have overall somewhat game awareness. You can make Loki work at lower tiers. Medusa. Medusa at an S plus. I think she's probably one of the best ADCs alongside Jingwei. Now, granted, she's not as safe, but her ult is probably one of the best ults, at least for out of like all the carries at lower tiers. Um, you can sometimes even 1v2 people just off an ult. You play that into I think there's an item that gives you crit after you ult somebody that gives you like 25% crit to your entire team. I don't know. I've had games where I've ulted like 4 people, and my entire team just got a team wipe on like the other team just because of my ult mainly. I don't know. I think she's super solid. The only thing she really suffers is her early game. You have to get past like level 6, 7 to really start picking up with her. Otherwise, she's kind of. I wouldn't say she's absolute garbage. She doesn't do anything at those lower tiers. She just doesn't have as much pressure as she does after those levels. Mercury, solid A plus. Not gonna talk about her very much. Merlin S plus, extremely safe, very spammable. There's not really much to fuck up about Merlin, even for like newer players / lower tier players. He has more reward than he does drawback. Mulan B plus. You can play Mulan either in support or solo. She gets pressured out in solo lane very easily. Her support really isn't that good either. I don't know. If anything, I'd rather have a support Mulan than I do a solo lane Mulan. And even then, at lower tiers, people ain't gonna land her stun or her whatever it is, her hook to pull people in. If you can't land that, she's not even doing anything. So Neith, I'm gonna put Neith at a solid S. I think Neith, she's just really easy to play. Even if you don't land your root, she just brings so much value with the global ult. Like you're able to get kills on the other side of the map. People don't expect it at lower tiers. You're able to get a lot of more pickoffs with that arrow. Her spirit arrow is really solid. And plus, she's one of the most. I think out of all the ADCs, I think she's the first one people get if they're new to the game. People are going to know how to play her more than a lot of the other characters by default. I think that makes her higher tier. Nemesis. I really don't want to put Nemesis solo, but at lower tiers and ranked and stuff like that, she doesn't do anything. People don't know how to land her abilities. People don't know when to go in, when to go in and get out for kills. People don't know how to build her properly. She just doesn't do anything. Like if once I got her on my teams a couple times and she just doesn't fucking do anything. Like her early game is garbage. Her mid game is eh. She doesn't really do anything until late game, and even then, by that time, like people are already fully built, and she really can't do anything anyways. Naja, I'm gonna put Naja at a solid S. I think he hits so hard with autos. I think that's what makes him really good. Even if you can't land your pool, your pull in with his I think it's ribbon or whatever the fuck it is. If you can just land your ult, get chip damage, he just does hits so well for an auto attacker. You can build him a variety of ways for jungle. Really good clear, really good minion clear, great late game. Really good as a jungler, really solid. Nike. Put Nike at an S plus. You can play her in jungle, you can play her in support, you can play her in solo lane. Great pressure, great jungle clear. Um, really no drawback. She's really fucking solid at lower tiers. Really, really good. Nox, A plus. I think if you can't land Nox's root and combine her abilities like max potential, then she really doesn't do anything. I'm just gonna put her at A just because I think she can be solid if you can land most of your abilities, she can be solid. But even if you miss a couple, I'm just gonna put her at A just because I think that's where she would land. I don't think she's B type worthy. Nuwa, I'm gonna put it in A plus. Um, I think she has decent pressure for mid lane. I think the only thing that's bad about her is her early game is kind of garbage. Once she gets past like level 5 or 6, she kind of starts to picking up. I would put her higher, but she just gets dove kind of easily. Odin A plus. You can play him in jungle, you can play him in support, you can play him in solo. Great pressure, great jungle clear, really good ult. Oloron garbage B plus. Very situational. The only thing he really does is spam his ult. Apart from that, he doesn't do anything like any of the other mage ADCs do. He gets dove very easily. People don't know how to properly position him well. People don't have any good game sense when playing him. Garbage mainly. Osiris. I'm gonna put Osiris at an A. Just your run of the mill solo laner / support. Pele. I'm gonna put Pele at a solid S. I think she's really solid. Even if you don't even like land most of your abilities, um, you can even play her as a full auto attack jungler. She has great lane clear, great jungle clear, decent early game. Great late game, very little drawbacks. There's a little to fuck up with playing a Pele. Like, you can't really go wrong without playing a Pele at lower tiers. Um, Persephone. Now, if this was like a top tier, like ranked tier list, I'd probably put Persephone way higher. But since it's lower tiers, I'm gonna put her at an A. People, if I get her on my team, people just don't know how to properly throw down her seeds and her plants. People don't know how to play her properly in mid lane. If I do get her on my team, and most people that play her, they just spam ult. That's all she really is at lower tiers. She's an ult spam bot. People don't know how to do anything apart from that, and she kind of lacks damage. Like if you're just using her as an ult bot and you're not taking advantage of her entire kit, then you're better off just picking something else. Poseidon, Poseidon and S. I think you can play him even in jungle, and I'd say mid. I'd say he's by far best in mid, but you can play him in jungle and get away with it at lower tiers. The one thing that makes him so good is he can pretty much wipe teams with his ult. Like people at lower tiers don't know how to properly position. They don't know when an ult's going to be popped. I've seen teams get completely wiped with one Poseidon ult. I don't know, his ult's fucking broken even late game. Ra. B. Very little to no pressure in mid lane. If you play him as support, he constantly gets like pressured out. People don't know how to use his healing. They use it as a damaging ability instead of like a healing beam for the team. People don't know how to land his ult. I don't know. He gets dove super easily. Kind of garbage at lower tiers. Raijin, I'm gonna put it in A plus. I think he's relatively solid. Just very very solid. Rama, I'm gonna put in A plus. Not gonna talk about it very much. He recently got reworked. I think that's going. He's pretty solid. I think the only thing about him that would put him higher is his ult. If you can't land your ult or your ult shots and get that max damage off your ult, you're not really providing as much potential as you could be. Rat, S plus. At lower tiers, Rat frags, even late game. You pretty much what you do with Rat, you get to level 5, and then you start ganking. He has the best early game out of any jungler in the game currently at lower tiers or even in the game at any tier. Just reach level 5, and then you get your acorn fully upgraded, and you get one other item, at least half are fully upgraded, and then you just start ganking and helping with and get kills. Really solid, really good pick for jungle. Ravana A plus. Not gonna talk about it very much. Scylla, I'm gonna put Scylla at an S. The only thing about Scylla that you really need to land is her root. Apart from that, you can pretty much just spam away and get huge amounts of damage and very little drawback. She's relatively safe. Does a fuck ton of damage. Really, really solid. Circuit A. People just don't know how to properly use their abilities. Set. I'm gonna put Set in A plus. I think even if you just build him as like an all-out like auto attack jungler, you can still relatively use him well. Even if you don't know how to like fully utilize its kit to its max potential, I think he still has a really good amount of value at lower tiers. Scotty, I'm gonna put a Scotty at a solid A plus. Just a run in the mill, very very good pick for a carry. Sobek, very little drawback to Sobek. He's pretty much like unkillable. Even if you build him like shitty, he's pretty much unkillable. Like I think the only thing that really kind of hinders him, if I wouldn't even put him higher, is if people actually knew how to position properly. If you can position properly and have decent game awareness with Sobek and land most of your abilities, and know when to use your ult, stuff like that, you can just play a really annoying solo laner or even support. S, I think Saul is really solid. I'm gonna put him at S just because he's super safe. Like if you want a really safe ADC or even like a mid that you're able to get decent pressure with early game and be really really safe with until you get like your build online and you start getting like past like level 5, level 6. Really solid. I think she got buffed recently as well. Really really solid at lower tiers. Sun Wukong, I would put him at an A. I think what Sun Wukong really lacks in solo lane is pressure. Like he gets pressured out by things like Arthur, Yamana, stuff like that, like really easily. Like he lacks lane pressure until like late game. So Sonoa would put it at a solid A+, really solid. Sylvanas, A. I think what prevents me from putting him higher is people don't know how to land his grab. Terra, you rarely see Terra in lower tier ranked. People don't know how to use her. People don't know how to position with her. That if anything, if she's on your team, she's just more of like a feeder. Thanatos, I'm gonna put Thanatos as a solid S. I think he's really solid. Little drawback to playing him. He has an automatic execute with his ult, so you're automatically gonna be getting killed if you can even use your ult. If you play him, you gotta play him really aggressive. He has a really solid early game, really good late game. Oregon, I'm gonna put it in A. The reason why I'm not putting her higher is just because people don't know how to land her ult and don't really know how to utilize her kit to full potential. And she gets dove pretty easily. Thor. I think even at lower tiers, Thor is a top pick for jungle. There's really no drawbacks, high reward. Thoth, E+. He has very little pressure, shitty early game, doesn't really do anything. He has a shitty road, he gets dove very easily. Doesn't do anything apart from like a lot of the other mages. Tier, A+. Uller, A. The reason I'm not going to put him higher is just because people don't know how to use his stance switch ability to its max potential. Yvonne, I think Yvonne is really easy to play. I'm actually putting Yvonne at a solid S. I think he has really good lane pressure, decent early game, really good safe ult, decent damage. You can build him a variety of ways. You can use him in support and solo, really solid. Vulcan, A+, just your typical solid mid laner. Shibalanki, I'm going to put it in an S. That global ult is still insanely good. High reward, little drawbacks. There's not really much you can screw up by playing a Shibalanki unless you're just absolute garbage at your role. Xing, S+ or A+. Emoja, I'm still going to put Emoja in an S. I think even with you don't even have to land like all your abilities. As long as you land your ult, you're able to trap people inside your ult, and you're able to just spam your stun. You're getting huge amounts of value at lower tier ranked. That automatically makes her a top tier pick, either in support or even mid lane. Or even solo. She can do decent in solo and provide pressure. Ymir, I'm going to put actually Ymir at an S. I think Ymir has a really good support. You can play him in solo, but I think he can have decent pressure in solo, but I think he shines in support a lot better. He sets up a lot of good kills. If you can just like land his freeze, and if that's like the only ability you can land, then you're automatically getting value. There's no way you can go wrong with him. Zeus, A+, he just gets dove too easily. That's the only drawback. Otherwise, he does insane amounts of damage. Great team fight. Zhonghui, garbage, B+ tier. Very situational. You rarely ever see him low tiers. And that's the tier list, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you guys want me to continue doing tier list videos like this in the future, let me know by leaving a like, subscribe if you guys want more Smite videos, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Thanks for watching.